That's an interesting thing I want to ask you about too, because you have, I didn't realize this when I moved to Colorado, but you have pretty extensive knowledge on things like regenerative agriculture. And that's like one, the different uses for the hemp plant, which is like some of the stuff you told me today was like staggering. Like we'll get into like nuclear waste cleanup and stuff. Yeah. But two, like the different ways to grow the plant. And then, all of my listeners will be familiar with Sacred Cow, the regenerative agriculture documentary that I'm involved in with Rob Wolf, Diana Rogers. The film's been premiered this month and people are loving it. So I've been I've been like a huge activist basically for regenerative agriculture. So tell us a bit about like that, like how hemp is grown and the soil health and all these different things.
Sure. I've learned a lot about farming from hemp because I feel like it all starts with the farming, right? How you grow the plant and how full and rich you can grow the plant is how well that it will work, I feel like, therapeutically and for people in their systems. So one thing I've noticed is, most of the stuff that's on the supermarkets right now, Walmart, Target, Safeway, if it's not organic, is genetically modified.
Sure.
They're using sprays, they're using pesticides. It's usually mass fields of farm, which from getting in this industry and meeting farmers, I've learned how much farmers got screwed. Basically, they were, big food companies came to them, wanted them to like introduce this genetically modified, different options that they could put in. And then if they don't do it, if someone, their neighbors does it, and they're growing genetically modified and a wind comes in, it can bring that over to their crops and field. Yeah. And they can actually scan it through, I think it was drones and different things, and basically find out if a farmer that didn't buy like Monsanto's products has them still in their crops, then they can sue them and they could end up taking the farmers, and they set this precedence. And so I met a lot of farmers that were caught up into that. They didn't necessarily want to go this way, and genetically modified way, but was basically like, after seeing a few people get their farms taken away, we didn't feel like we had a choice. And then also they helped them expand their farms and would do like, I've heard a lot of people that got loans and things that these companies made it easy for them to do that. But then whenever they like got tied, or if they didn't want to put some kind of spray that they thought was bad, or Roundup or whatever, all these different things they're putting on farms, then they'll take back the farm. Wow. And so they if they pull back their business and they loaned you this money to do this farm, then you're going to lose your farm. Yeah. So they put people in these crazy predicaments, and farmers get that. It's really sad. But basically I would say to start organic, USD organic is obviously a lot better than the conventional way of growing. It's just basically a standard where you're not using any chemicals, any sprays, any, all organic materials basically. Right. But the one thing even about organic, that it's short on is that it typically pulls the same nutrients in the soil over and over again. So every plant, from what I've learned, is they're usually pulling nutrients out and they're usually giving some back. Sure. And so what regenerative agriculture is, from my understanding and my experience with it, is that you're kind of looking at different ways to regeneratively sustain these without having to use, any even organic fertilizers and things, how to use the natural earth. How to plan like crop rotations, which means like if a certain plant is going to take certain things from the ground and then give certain things back, well, then the next plant that you're planting on it, you would want it to take the things that were back in the ground and replace what's next, and then circle it around. Yeah. Those, along with like cover crops, which is basically what people use that kind of help with the insects and things like that eating the crops, which is why a lot of these pesticides and stuff come around. It's a natural form of like growing agriculture. Some people I've heard do lavender, all these different kinds that kind of feed back the soil, and then it's a natural insect repellent. So to me, regenerative agriculture basically is using the natural systems that we already have and planting it smartly to where you grow the richest, fullest plant, because it all starts in the soil. And if the soil has the proper nutrients to grow the plant, then it's going to grow the best plant possible. And so that's why I think those are the differences or whatever in between conventional farming, organic farming, and then regenerative, like, is it Purple Cow?
Sacred Cow.
Sacred Cow is kind of promoting, which I think is the ultimate one, because it's really looking at an holistic approach. And I think one of the things I've heard before too was like 1950s that was they measured an orange versus what orange measures now, and it's like 8 times
Yeah, it's
less
21.
21 now.
Yeah, for the same amount of vitamin C.
Same vitamin C.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all
Crazy.
about soil.
All about soil health.
Yeah, we've depleted our soil, we've trashed it, and
Mm-hmm.
overall, it's like I say, it's growing less nutrient dense plants.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we're really cautious of and look for. I look for sourcing our hemp. I'm looking for farmers, organics, 100% necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm also looking at the regenerative agriculture standards.
Yeah. That's super important, man. And I want to touch on this because that's what I was blown away by when we first started. We went and toured a manufacturing facility out here, talking about supplements for Clovis, for different things that I've been looking to do. And your knowledge of like supply chain is really next level.